Hello and welcome to the Barrel Room. We are excited that you have pulled up a chair and are ready to listen as we dive into whiskey, history, and experiences. Once again on this episode of the Barrel Room podcast, we would like to thank our sponsors for making this episode possible. Beanstalk Web Solutions, Fallen Brothers Crafted Spirits, and the Barrel Room Bourbon Club. To learn more about these sponsors, you can check them out on our website at thebarrelroompodcast.com. And now let's welcome our hosts Kenny Gales and Brian Bisking to this week's episode on the Barrel Room podcast.
Hello, welcome to the Barrel Room Podcast. We got some special guests here tonight. Two special guests. We'll allow them to introduce ourselves. I'm Brian Bisking with the Barrel Room Bourbon Club and the Barrel Room Podcast.
I'm Kenny Gales with Fallen Brothers Crafted Spirits and also co-host and co-owner of the Barrel Room Bourbon Club as well.
Andrew Chaucer, co-founder of St. Louis Bourbon Society.
Jeff Henley, St. Louis Bourbon Society admin and Sugar Cube ambassador.
Master Taster.
Master Taster.
Master Taster.
I like that.
Master Palate.
I like that.
Just master of everything.
We should give you the title of like Chief Master Taster, Chief Experience Officer.
Yeah,
that works.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Or you could just say Bourbon Guru. That works.
Bourbon Guru.
We've had some experiences with Jeff, picking, so I would say that's pretty good. I like that one, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to have you guys here tonight. Obviously, big reason we're here tonight is we're going to talk about the Bourbon Brews festival is coming up here on June 8th. But we thought we'd start out tonight by, if you guys want to give just a high-level overview of the Bourbon Society, St. Louis Bourbon Society Sugar Cube Locker Club. We're going to do a second episode later on down the road with Drew's other partner, James, and do a whole episode on the St. Louis Bourbon Society. If you don't know about it, I would highly suggest you check it out. Kenny and I are both members of the club. Just a great atmosphere, great time to go and visit with others that love bourbon and sample bourbon. And they do several cool events throughout the year as well. I know Kenny and I are going to Meet the Makers here later this month with...
Which one is it? The 15
stars.
15 stars, yeah.
Yep.
Well, we're going to that one. So, Drew, why don't you just give us a high-level overview of the club?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, first of all. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Bourbon Brews is June 7th.
Oh, Saturday. So sorry.
Okay.
Saturday.
It's Saturday. June 8th, Sunday.
That's
Yeah, no
I
problem.
apologize.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, Bourbon Brews at Frankie Martin's Garden, June 7th. So about 400 different whiskeys, bourbons, ryes, brews, seltzers, whatever. But majority of it's going to be focused on whiskey and a lot of good bourbon. So we're excited for that. I get a couple live bands. We have some food trucks.
Steve Ewing from The Urge.
Yeah, Steve Ewing band.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Today.
Very cool.
Yeah, the full band. So he'll be there. And Sugar Buzz is the other opening band.
Okay.
Another great band.
Yeah, the cover band. We have a lot of fun. So, yeah, we our fourth year doing it. We really been having a good time with the event. And the whole thing came about because, we already had the St. Louis Bourbon Festival, which is in October every year. That's more of your enthusiasts, really, the guys are really into the whiskey bourbon world. And I want to do something a little more like day drinking. Like, I enjoy drinking a nice, beer with my whiskey or my bourbon. And so does James. We're both kind of beer guys originally. And I was like, what if we just threw a big party during the day? That way everybody can come. It's not just like these enthusiasts who only go to all these high-end events. I want to be able to bring your friends, bring your neighbors, bring your girlfriend or whatever, or boyfriend, and just come have a good time,
Well, it's kind of an event for everybody.
Yeah.
Whether you like bourbon or not.
Yeah, anybody can go.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a bourbon enthusiast. You don't have to be a beer enthusiast, but if you like to have a good time, a little day drinking, it's a good time.
Awesome.
And a cool atmosphere
Yeah.
at Frankie Martin Garden if you haven't been there.
Frankie Martin's always a good time,
It is.
especially if the weather's nice outside. It's perfect for me and my family because we have a 3-year-old and 4-year-old, and we can just let them run all over the AstroTurf as much as they want while we enjoy a cocktail.
Yeah, it's a great facility. Their little whiskey house there is
That's cool.
beautiful. It was restored. It used to be Actually, the guy's name was Frankie Martin. He's a farmer.
Mhm.
That was his actual house where he lived.
And according to my wife, he used to be the janitor of St. Dominic High School as
He
well.
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
He was a very well known and well loved fixture of Cottleville. And when he passed on and the property was up for sale, that's when it was purchased by the group that does 7 Mile Garden.
Oh yeah.
And same people, and put this together. And we actually were their very first event ever.
Really?
Was Bourbon Brews, yeah. Yeah,
That's
we were the
awesome.
very first. They were out there fixing electrical at 3 a.m. They pulled it off. They did a great job. They really busted their tails, and the event went off perfectly. So, yeah, big shout out to them. They did a good job.
So it's June 7th. Pardon my original announcement of June 8th. I don't know why I was thinking Sunday. June 7th. What time does it start?
General admission gets going at noon, and VIP gets going at 11 a.m.
11 a.m.
And it runs till 3.
And there's still tickets available.
Oh, yeah.
Still tickets available. And we try to price these things, so that you can get a whole group to go, and we try to make it affordable and fun, and it's not gonna break the bank. So definitely come on out and enjoy it.
And we'll put a link to the tickets on this podcast video, as well as we'll put a link on the Barrel Room Bourbon Club's website to purchase tickets as well. So you can check it out. I'm sure it's also on the St. Louis Bourbon Society's webpage as well for tickets.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can go to bourbonandbrewsstlouis.com is where you can find tickets.
A lot of good food trucks too. So
Yeah.
Frankie Martin's always got good food trucks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We also have a new cigar sponsor this year for Bourbon Brews, Lit Cigar
Oh,
Lounge.
sweet, yeah.
Some of our buddies, good
We'll be there
friends.
Thursday.
Yeah,
6
exactly.
to 9, yeah.
And they're gonna have a little kind of couch and tent set up, and you can buy and smoke a cigar. And
so that's a cool lounge.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
deluxe couches and fans and
Awesome owners.
TV. Yeah.
Super cool.
Brian's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Awesome. Talk to us a little bit about what distilleries are going to be there. Maybe name some of the top ones that
Oh,
you think
geez.
are. I mean, there's a ton. I
I know
know.
there's a bunch.
I was
yeah,
gonna say,
yeah.
I was looking at the website.
Some of the
I was
big
like,
ones,
holy
maybe,
cow.
or
Maybe
somebody-
just name a few of the top ones you think
Or
would be there.
who's the main sponsor, at least? Is it, don't you have one?
Yeah, so we have we got several sponsors. Old Dominic is back again as one of our sponsors. They do a great job. Bearwood Spirits is one of our sponsors.
Mhm.
And there's several others, but the brands, we try to mix them up every year. We have some that come back every year the same, but then we try to bring in new ones. We want to try to keep it fresh. So we want to surprise people with what the different vendors may be.
Bearwood, that one that has the patent on the cork?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and they actually had a nice big table at our festival in the fall last year. And the line, I kept trying to go by there to say hi to them, and the line was always so big I couldn't even get in there. But those guys do a great job, and they got a kind of a neat idea. And we're actually gonna have them at the club here pretty soon
Oh, cool.
Nice.
to come in and do a meet the makers kind of deal and talk to everybody and kind of hear their story.
Awesome. Is Maker's Mark the VIP sponsor?
Yeah, they're the VIP Whiskey House sponsor.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
they were last year. They're doing it again this year. Amazing experience. Of course, you have air conditioning in the house. You have your own
Oh,
bathroom,
nice.
private
Yeah.
bathroom.
Private bathrooms will on itself right
It
there.
is.
A couple nice cocktails, a lot of nice pours. It's not just makers; they have other stuff. Jim Beam,
Mm-hmm.
your Bookers, Little Book. You're gonna have a lot of allocated products in there. That experience is worth going for sure.
And I'll be manning the whiskey house. So
Yep.
if you buy tickets for VIP, come and see me and I'll take care of you.
Just leave a little something for everybody else, would you?
No.
Don't drink it all.
No.
Those usually go quick, I'm sure. The VIP tickets. You
Those
probably
are
snag
those are close to being sold out. Yeah, those are
Yeah.
close.
So if you are interested, definitely grab those before they are gone.
Now, Drew, were you telling me that there's like 3,000 people who attend this?
I think last year was like 2,600 ish.
That's a lot in that little area.
It's a pretty big area.
Well,
Actually,
I guess overall.
like they do, St. Patty's Day and stuff over there, and like
Mhm.
7,000 or 8,000 people there. So
Holy cow.
our event's not that crowded for
It's
sure.
not going to be overwhelmed.
It's still a good turnout, though. I mean, that's,
Yeah, it's still a great turn.
Yeah, in the first year we didn't even use the pickleball area at all.
Uh-huh.
So the second year, third year, and this year, the pickleball area is all vendors. So, we probably put 35 vendors over there, and then we have vendors under under the pavilions. We got vendors down by the food trucks. So I think overall there's about 70 vendors total.
Nice.
Way more vendors than you can drink stuff. Let me tell you.
But you can try.
You can try.
Just don't drive home.
Drink responsibly.
Yeah, exactly. Don't try to go around the world like I do at Epcot.
No.
Yeah. Now we tell everybody, look at the event guide, make a plan, try to hit the, some of the ones that you don't know about or haven't heard about before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you start at, vendor 1 and try to work your way up, there's no way.
No.
Yeah, we do not recommend that at all.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Pace yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well, hopefully the weather will be good that weekend, too. I just looked at the weather for this weekend. We're going to have like 66-degree weather and rain.
Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend. You'd think could be warmer than that. But you never know here in Missouri.
Yeah, it tends to be nice and warm and sunny for the last few years.
Yeah,
we're kind of hoping the same thing.
We haven't had rain in one time yet.
No,
Well, you better knock on some wood.
I know.
That's marble.
Thanks,
That's
Jeff. Thanks, Jeff. Right down here.
There you go. Cabinets, those are wood. Yeah.
So I guess we started kind of, in a different order. I guess if you want to go back and kind of touch on what the St. Louis Bourbon Society is and what inspired you guys or how it came about, just to get kind of everybody kind of a glimpse into where this all came and why this event is here today.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I moved here from Michigan in 2018 and did not know anybody in this area. So I was like, well, I need to join a couple groups to meet some people, have a network, And so I joined a couple whiskey groups and they were nice people, but it wasn't really what I was looking for. So I kept looking and I came across this guy named James Thomas online. He had his own Facebook page for the Bourbon Society. And I messaged him and I said, hey, where do you guys all meet? I want to come and check it out. Maybe I'd meet some new people. And he says, we've never actually had a get together. It's only online. I said, yeah, man, no problem. It's cool. I understand. He goes, but if you want to meet up, maybe we can have a drink and talk about it. I'm like, that sounds like a bad Dateline episode. I don't know about all that.
Yeah, right.
But it turns out he lives pretty close to me. We met up at a local little bar called Fallon's, Irish whiskey bar. And, we hit it off right away, and we both kind of had the same perspective that we thought there was a opportunity in St. Louis for a group that was way more interactive, that just a lot more events and tastings and more, get people together and bottle shares. And that's kind of where the whole thing started. And yeah, we literally wrote on a napkin like a 5-year plan that night.
Wow.
And we got along great from the get-go. And so from there, we started kind of building out the group and, getting more people to follow the page. And then we started doing events and tastings and everything else. And that eventually led into getting festivals. Just because there was such a demand for, seeing different brands, new brands that are coming to town. And that also led to us really going out and seeking out brands and then bringing them back to Missouri. So all in all, we brought about 35 brands to Missouri.
Wow.
That we've met, in other states and just kind of seek them out. And not just us. I mean, our team kind of says, hey, we think this brand's really good. And Jeff is one of the ones that's helped us, pin down a few brands that we're interested in. And no, it's been great because, our team is very knowledgeable and like, hey, you heard of this or that? And no, I haven't. So when they start communicating with the brand and get them into Missouri, because Missouri, going back 5 years, 6 years, the distributors, it's not really their intent to go seek out brands, in other states. They're busy, they're doing their jobs. So we started kind of taking that role on where we went and found some of these brands that were unique and really tasty. And then we just contact them and say, hey, if you're interested in coming to Missouri, and if they were, we would just, let them talk to the distributor, and then they came to the States. So, yeah, we're pretty proud of a lot of the brands we've been bringing here.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're talking to Western Kentucky currently and hoping that we can get them to come do, a big event down at Sugar Cubed, and we'll start on that by you and see what you thought. But yeah,
hell yeah, yeah. There's brands that go to our festivals that are not even in Missouri. So,
Sure.
you know,
So I'll tell you, this is just my side. Kenny knows this side of me, but I grew up drinking bourbon out of college, but it was like I know anything about it, right? I just when I was on the shelf, me and my college roommate, we would buy it. It would be an Eagle Rare or something along those lines. This is back in the day when bourbon was cheap and wasn't as in demand as I think it is now. And it wasn't really until I met Kenny that I was like, holy cow, there is so much more like to whiskey and bourbon than I ever even dreamt about. And so Drew, to your point, like there's brands that I come across all the time, and I'm like Grillo. Shout out to Grillo. I bought this Middle West over there from him, and that was an incredible bottle. I never even heard of it until he got it in the store.
Yeah.
So that Pumpernickel rye is good too.
Yeah, so it's just kind of cool to like see these brands that aren't your Maker's Mark or your Jim Beams that make some really solid bourbon and whiskey that a lot of people don't even know about.
Yeah, and obviously, we've already tried those brands, those heritage brands. They're fantastic, and they're staples on my shelf too. But what's the most exciting thing you can do? The most exciting thing you can do is you can try something new or meet somebody new, right? And that's those experiences that we're trying to provide to our group. Find a new brand, find a new, buddy to drink with. Have a bottle share or something. And the great part is what we've been seeing over the last couple of years is all these micro groups that formed from our group, all these little networks of groups now are
doing one of them.
No, and I tell you what, I love it. I think it's great. You guys are doing your own thing. That's fantastic. I think you couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, I'll never not be a part of the Sugar Cube Club, but this just brings something a little more farther out west for people that can't make it in there or don't want to purchase a membership or anything like that to be a part of that experience. So hopefully we can bring that to them by being able to do that. So
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So talk to us about a little bit more on the Sugar Cube on the club. Talk about the lockers and how that all came to be, and how did you actually get the building? I mean, was that?
Or I guess what it was before.
It's
called Sugar Cube, really, yeah.
I'll give the intro and I'll let Jeff talk some more because he's been instrumental in the club. So we were driving back from Barrel King. It was Jeff, myself, and there you go.
In every firehouse, every patrol car, every ambulance, and every military unit, there's a bond forged in courage, sealed by sacrifice. At Fallen Brothers Crafted Spirits, we raise a glass to the heroes who never made it home. Crafted in honor, shared in remembrance. Each bottle of our handcrafted whiskey tells a story of bravery, of brotherhood, of lives lived in service. And with every pour, you're giving back. Because a portion of every bottle goes directly to organizations supporting the families of fallen first responders right here in our area. To the ones who answered the call, to the ones who still do, and to those we'll never forget, Fallen Brothers, Crafted Spirits. Raise one. Remember them. Available now. Drink with honor. Support with heart.
We want to pour that up while we're talking.
Let's do that.
So, just for the record, this is a recent pick that we did with my group and St. Louis Bourbon Society, 17-year American Light Whiskey. Sure, some of you are familiar with Barrel King, Old Road Craft Spirits in Bourbon, Missouri. They have a real cool membership program where you get a bottle every month, $100. You get it locally, you can go down there. Very cool experiences, wonderful people. They do a lot for charity. This is one of the first single barrels that they have done in 2 or 3 years. That's a true single barrel. They're doing a lot of blending, but if you like light whiskey, it's really good.
Which actually,
I think we were one of those single barrel picks.
Yeah, probably.
And if you go back to our, what was it, Kenny? Our first episode, we do a whole, I don't know what you call it, talk on Barrel King and how they got started. Their story is incredible story. So if you haven't heard the story, I would recommend going back to episode 1 and listening to it.
They have if you go on their website, they got a new video they did recently, kind of about their origin story.
I got to at least show the back of the bottle.
When I picked that, I wanted to get a little off the beaten path, and it started out a little more risque than it ended up, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So now what is this one?
So this is a straight SIB, 17-year American Light MGP.
Okay.
And it's called Honey Whipped Cream Dream. And it is 135.5 proof, 17 years old, and it's just a beautiful American light whiskey.
Yeah, it is.
This is dangerous.
Sweet.
It is really
That
good.
is sweet and delicious.
Yeah,
That's a tasty whiskey.
it is good.
I opened my first bottle at home, and I went through about a half of it in I think 3 days, and now I hit it for myself because it's just so easy to go back to. It's like the buttercream frosting on a cake.
Yep.
Just
So I think this is our third or fourth single barrel that we have
fourth or
done
fifth, actually.
with Old Road.
Yeah.
The owner of Old Road, Jared Records, a good friend of mine. I knew him long before he started the distillery, and I had pestered Drew and James trying to get them to do some collaborations with Old Road, and they finally agreed to it. And so we were going down there for that collaboration. And some of you may or may not have heard of Old Carter, which is not in Missouri yet, but I have another bottle here that has myself and Mark Carter's picture on it. I'll get to that in a minute, but they also have a locker club program, and we got in on the ground floor of that locker club program. And our locker club is modeled after them. So anyway, we're on our way down to Barrel King, and I'm like, we should do a locker club like Old Carter. And I'm thinking, yeah, they're going to blow me off like that. And to my surprise, Drew's like, yeah, we really should. I'm like, you just said that, didn't you? And sure enough, James was like, yeah, we should do that. I'm like, sweet.
I really enjoy the atmosphere at Old Carter. And I like the ambiance, I like the locker idea and all that. Coming back from Barrel King with Jeff and James and started talking about it a little bit. And I was like, well, the Lock Club thing's kind of already been done a little bit around here, but what if we did something a little bit different? So instead of being open to the public, it's a private club completely. So it's subscription only. You get your own locker, but the public can't come in. You make reservations via an online website, and you can bring people with you, and you have your own space and bartender, ambassadors, and locker. But we're completely a private club. So we don't sell anything. We don't sell liquor. We don't sell food. We don't do anything. What we do is provide a space that's pretty unique, and it is speakeasy-ish. It's
well, and it's also
not no sign outside or anything. So
you're on Main Street in St. Charles. I mean,
Yeah.
what's better ambiance than that?
yeah,
It's
so
a crazy location.
It's a neat building. The building before we got it was an actual candy store called Sugarcute, and it was kind of that craft, handmade candy. So they sold regular candy and they made a lot of their own too. So it was a great looking space. But unfortunately, I don't know, for whatever reason, they're not there anymore. And this building was empty for about a year. So we made a phone call and looking for somewhere to be. And the very first guy I called happened to be the guy that owns that building.
Oh.
He's a real estate agent and he owns the building.
The one next door.
Yeah. And so James and I kind of went over and looked at it. And we didn't really say what we're doing. We're not sure how he's going to take it. We try to, describe the situation. And after about 30 minutes, he goes, "All right, guys, what are you going to do in here? I kind of want to know." And so, all right, let's go for broke. I pitched him the idea, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm all in. Let's do it."
Nice.
So he is into bourbon quite a bit. His wife's actually into bourbon even more.
Yep.
Really?
And so they were gun ho. They said, "Go for it." So yeah.
I think they might even kick somebody out just so they could have bourbon people in it.
Well, they had. He said he had 4 or 5 different businesses that wanted to be in there because it is a neat building.
It's a very neat building.
And that really excited him and his wife as far as like having a neighbor because their office right next door. So I guess they turned down a few people, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was like an antique shop, a yarn shop, a shop that sold pencils or something. I don't know, but a bourbon club
Not nearly as cool as bourbon.
definitely got them got their ears perked up. So Yeah, we went for it. It took us about 6 months to build it out, and then we opened in May of 23.
Oh, nice.
So we just had our 2-year anniversary.
2-year anniversary.
Sweet. Yeah.
Speakeasy downstairs, event space upstairs.
Yeah.
About 1,600 feet in each one.
With our 18.
Cigar patio out back.
Yeah.
It's a really cool place.
Very cool place.
Our own private parking right off Main Street. So, yeah, pretty sweet.
Yeah, so once we got that going, obviously, we built out all the lockers and such. And I think that the thing that I was really hoping for, the thing that I was most anticipating was meeting all the members.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the best part. When members join, you get to meet people like, yourself and Brian, and get to know everybody. You go in there and it just feels like a big family now. You just go in there, hang out, bring some bottles in, big bottle share every time you're in there. That you couldn't ask for anything better. It really is amazing. And then we have the most amazing team that runs the bar. Jeff is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And, what really makes the whole thing special is, the person behind the bar, in my opinion.
Drink of the night. We try to outdo each other with cocktails of the night.
Yeah, fantastic.
And it's funny because so many people will bring, 5, 6, 7, 8 bottles and put them in their locker, and they come in for a night, and there's 5 or 6 other people there, and you never touch one of your own bottles.
Yeah.
So there's 20 other bottles there,
Yeah.
so it's like a bottle share every night.
As soon as you walk in, Joseph's handing you a bottle to pour. He picked up his 15 from Washington Distilling Company, or he picked up here or there.
Yeah.
Same with Zach, who's another ambassador, another club member.
Yeah.
Awesome guy.
It's a great networking experience, and to me, that is what drew me into St. Louis Bourbon Society. A lot of people are, into bourbon strictly to get an allocated bottle, or get access to this or that or whatever. But to me, the real benefit of the whiskey is a conduit for the experiences, and that's what St. Louis Bourbon Society is more heavily focused on, is experiences like Bourbon Brews, like the Fall Festival, like the myriad of tastings that we do with the makers. I mean, there's not a week goes by we don't have some master distiller or some brand rep or whatever coming in and sampling out a bunch of product or doing some type of presentation. We get access to things that you will never, ever see. To that end, the bottle I showed you earlier, Old Carter, that is Mark Carter on that bottle and myself. I was fortunate enough to be in the Old Carter Locker Club and had someone who is a close associate of his reach out to me. Him and his wife owned Old Carter. They had a divorce, they had to sell the business, so Mark bought this old brand, Old Sport, so that he would be able to continue making whiskey in the event he didn't recover his brand, which he ended up doing. But since he had this brand, he had 10 barrels he wanted to get rid of, and they wanted to select groups that were typically in states where they do not distribute Old Carter. We are not an Old Carter state. They're only in 6 or 7 states right now, so we were extremely fortunate and lucky to score this barrel of 9-year American light whiskey, one of only 10 barrels that exist under this label ever. So that's the kind of cool stuff that
super cool
we get to do, having, the experiences and the connections that we have. So
I'll drink that one next.
Let's pour it up.
It's pretty cool bottle.
Yeah, and you talk about everybody chasing, those allocated bottles and all that stuff, but when you're part of this club, you more go after the one-off stuff, like what he's showing you right there with the Old Sport or the Barrel Peen Corn Hub and stuff like that. That's what I look forward to the most. And
you don't have to chase anything because it's coming to you.
Yeah, true. That's
right?
True. Yeah, exactly.
And the bottle's cool, but I had someone who was lucky enough to acquire one of the 100 bottles of this we got.
Mm-hmm.
And
is it only 96?
96, it wasn't even 100.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
they were like, thank you so much for allowing me to get that bottle. I, sampled it out to a bunch of people who weren't in the locker club, and they were just blown away by the bottle. And so, this person had a really cool experience and made some new friends because of the bottle.
Yeah.
And the bottle's cool, but making that relationship with those people and sharing something really cool like that is way more important.
Taking the bottle home is one thing, but seeing people pop these bottles open at the club and share them with everybody, you can't top that feeling.
Yeah.
Just
that's invaluable.
Something that took a while for us to work on and get to, and now it's being shared by a bunch of People appreciate it. It's really special. So cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us again.
Yeah.
Of course.
Great pick.
It is a great pick, isn't it? And
So another light whiskey.
Another light whiskey.
It is,
Back
it
to
is.
back. Yeah.
but there is one more Old Sport going to be released, and I think we're going to get access to that as well. And it might be the end of Old Sport forever. So
Really?
yeah,
It was a Band-Aid brand when Old Carter was in flux. So the possibility that this will go on longer is very minimal.
Gotcha.
because Mark is obligated to Old Carter, right?
Yeah,
Obviously, as his primary. Plus, he has some of the best wines in the world in Napa.
Carter Cellars.
Yeah, 100-point wines. You may like Camus at $90 a bottle. Well,
Mhm.
I guarantee you, they have never had a 100-point wine, and I think Mark's up to a dozen 100-point cabs
Yeah.
now.
Wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. So he's an incredible blender, and this is a tribute to his 10th year making whiskey. He actually worked with Dixon Dedsman at Kentucky Owl for many years when they were really good before that sold.
So that first one we had was 17-year,
Mhm.
more complex, bigger, bolder. This is going to be a bit more of a delicate flower. This is
Mhm.
younger, but still lots of complexity, lots going on.
It's more elegant, refined.
It's definitely
Yeah.
more. Watching that's crazy. All the
Yeah.
wax on there.
The viscosity of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the difference when you're comparing those two bottles between a big, bold. I mean, I picked that Corn Hub because it was big and bold and super buttery and
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
tons
it was.
of honey. And this is just straight up butterscotch bomb. And this was blended from the 10 barrels.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's not a single barrel.
Will
No,
Old
it's a
Carter
blend.
be at the Bourbon Brews? Or?
it will be.
He will.
Absolutely.
Super
Awesome.
cool. Yeah.
So they don't even sell their product in Missouri, but he is going to come to the festival, not at Bourbon Brews, but at the Fall
Bourbon
Festival.
Fall Festival, yeah.
Okay.
All right. All
So
right.
Yeah.
make sure you get your tickets for that
Yes.
if you want to meet Mark Carter. And we will eventually get Old Carter brought to Missouri. I can promise you that.
Do you have a date on that fall festival yet?
Yeah,
No?
Friday, October 3rd.
Okay.
Friday, October 3rd.
Yeah, Friday, October 3rd.
Oh,
Those tickets will go on sale mid-June. And last year we had added some new VIP lounges, which were very popular. We had some high-end brands take on some lounges, and those sold out pretty quick.
Where's that been held?
So that's down there off of Cherokee. So basically Cherokee and Domino, which is where Lemp Mansion is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we take over 4 city blocks, 4 buildings, about 200,000 square feet. It's one of the largest footprint bourbon festivals in the country right now. And we also have just unbelievable variety of brands. I think last year we had almost 90 vendors there,
Holy cow.
and they were all whiskey, bourbon, rye. There's no beer. It was basically an amusement park of
Sure.
and of course there was multiple bands. There was cigar lounges. I think it was 3 cigar lounges. Just a whole lot of fun. Yeah, it was a good time. And it's in the evening, so
Bagpipes, you name it.
yeah, people walk around with bagpipes, people throwing fire around.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
So
It is truly a festival. And
yeah,
again, you can't get Old Carter in Missouri, but you will be able to sample Old Carter at the festival.
That's awesome.
in the VIP lounge.
That's right.
You got
That's right.
You
you
do
get a
have to be
ticket.
VIP. Yeah, that is VIP only.
But if you're not VIP, I mean, the amount of selection is over
Insane.
70 brands. So it's either way you go, you'll be happy.
That's
100%.
awesome.
But this,
It's good.
I truly appreciate that single, but this blend is just fantastic.
Yeah.
So that is a beautiful contrast between, a single barrel, which everybody wants, right?
Sure.
And everybody is all hyped up about age and proof, right? That's 135.5, 17 years. Very old for any kind of whiskey.
Mhm.
135.5, almost hazmat. And it's big and bold and beautiful whiskey. This is only 9 years old. It's only 122 proof. And it's, way younger, almost half the age, and 12 proof points less?
Yeah.
But it is absolutely every bit as good, just in a different way, right?
Yep.
And that's the value of having someone that can blend things together. Because I guarantee you, those 10 barrels, if you had tried them by themselves, would not have been nearly as good as what Mark Carter was able to
Mhm.
put together.
Yeah. Well, actually, we tried an earlier blend, and then in the end, they reblended some, and the one they sent us was even better. the kind of crazy story behind this is that when they said they were going to do this, over 100 bourbon groups reached out wanting the barrels, and they vetted every group.
Wow.
And they wanted to find a group that was, not a bottle flipping group, which we're not on our page or anything. But they were very particular, had some criteria, and also helped that Jeff was knew them pretty well. But at the end of the day, they vetted our group pretty hard, and only 10 groups in the country were chosen.
Wow.
And that was it. There's no more. That sold out almost immediately. So when you start with the Corn Hub bottle, what was the price point on that one?
$200.
$200. This was $225.
Yep.
So light whiskey can be expensive, but it can also be very affordable if you want to grab the next bottle there.
Yeah, sweet.
And this is the most recent one, right?
Starlight. So this is a pick.
Still bottles this available.
Oh yeah, plenty. So this is a pick that we did with Joe Maui in Cottleville, Maui Liquor, and this is.
I've never been there.
You should. It's
I
right
didn't
across.
even know it existed
Crazy selection.
a month ago.
Right across from one of our other partners, Rack House.
Oh, yeah.
John Hamilton Rack House on the same lot.
I didn't even know it was there.
Joe is a great guy, one of our partners. If you're a member of St. Louis Bourbon Society, we have a new program this year where you get discounts with all of our vendors. Both of them are on that program. But back to the whiskey. So another contrast of the same type of whiskey. This is another American light whiskey. This one is not. So the other two were MGP. This one is actually Starlight whiskey. I'm sure many of you have had Starlight whiskey. This is an 8.5 years, so it's roughly the same age as the Old Sport. This one is Cakes and Beaches. Pretty cool sticker.
That is cool.
It is cool.
We're doing some cool stickers. This guy, in contrast to the other 9 groups that got the Old Sport, I think we were the only one that came in under $250 a bottle. Corn Hub was $200 a bottle. This half a year less age than the Old Sport, $40 a bottle.
So you're $42.99 for non-members, $34.99 if you're a member of the Bourbon Society. So all of our single barrels get a discount with our partners. So if you're a member of the Bourbon Society, $34.99 through the end of May. So by May 31st. After that, it goes up to $42.99. But yeah, they're flying through right now. I went over there yesterday to actually throw some stickers on there, and the stack was already down near the floor. So he was getting a few more in. He had some more cases from the back he's bringing up, but I think they're going quick. People are buying them like a case at a time.
So how many bottles did that one have?
That one was actually pretty stout. I think they had, Jeff, I think there were 36 cases. So you're talking, well over 200 bottles.
Yep.
But, to get access to some of these, they can be expensive, but this is one of those deals where it's great light whiskey. Mm-hmm. It's not sourced. They make it themselves, and you're talking under $40.
Yeah,
you kidding me?
You
kidding me?
Yeah, you can't beat that for sure.
And we've done many picks with Starlight. Starlight makes a great product.
And they're getting better. And
that price
they're getting better.
And their age is jumping up there because for a while they had nothing in but 5-6 year range. Now they're getting in the almost 10-year range.
It definitely smells cakey.
Yeah, it is cakey. So that's a common theme with light whiskey. Mm-hmm. Vanilla frosting, wedding cake type.
No stone fruit.
Definitely no stone fruit.
Not so much with light whiskey. You need some rye spice in the grain.
Right.
It's a running joke on the podcast.
Yes.
Oh, is it?
Okay. Just because of the vast array of items stone fruit is categorized. Apricots, cherries,
apricot,
peaches.
peach, apple.
Stone fruit.
What?
Yeah, so.
It's just a running joke on the podcast.
That's funny.
So, a lot of times we can't really control the price points. They're all set by.
Isn't it?
For $40.
They're all set by
right?
distributors and
One of the
retailers.
best values you will ever get. Yeah.
So when you come across something like this, that's a huge amount of value in that bottle for that price point. So
it's 125.6 proof.
Yeah, it is. Cast
For $40. Holy cow.
And single barrel pick, too. That's
single barrel cast strength.
Wow.
8.5 year light whiskey. Yep.
And where's Starlight out?
Indiana.
Indiana.
Same as MGP.
Yep.
Huber, Indiana, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a family. The Huber family had it for a long time, and it's a winery. They have their own vineyard there.
It's everything.
Exactly.
You go to their complex, and it's 100 acres, and there's like a old country store and a bakery and a winemaking store.
Brandy, lots of brandy.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm like,
stuff down there.
A brewery. I'm like, I know we're here to do a pick of whiskey. You're distilling somewhere? Drive like 3 miles to get to the distillery.
It's kind of middle of nowhere, but it's worth it.
Fun.
It's a good visit. I'd go
Very,
check it
very
out.
cool people.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you,
Crazy,
I
isn't
mentioned
it?
this to you, but I did not expect that.
I know, right?
And it's very good.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Very, very good.
I mean, it's almost in the same league as the old sport, and
Yeah, I
Oily,
would say so.
too.
a fourth of the price.
It's like a combination of those two, actually.
It is. You're right. I was
It's
just
a
saying the same thing,
little richer than the old sport.
but not as bold as the corner.
Not as
Right.
bold as that.
Right.
It has a little bit of that little bit of light fruit in there too. Not stone fruit, but
Yeah.
It has more barrel influence in both of those, though.
yeah.
Now, is Starlight going to be at Bourbon Brews?
Let me think about that. I don't think
Maybe
they're going to
it's
be
the fall
there.
one?
They're not going to be there this time around. I think they might be at the fall festival. But speaking of Bourbon Brews, we our official single barrel for Bourbon Brews is going to be an Old Dominic estate weeded.
Nice.
I just had Old Dominic for the first time about 2 weeks ago from
Okay.
my neighbor across the street, and it was fantastic.
So they were sourcing for a while, but then they started distilling, and so they have a mixture of both kind of products. But their estate series is their own distillate, and I think they waited 6 or 7 years to put out the very first thing. So I think our official bottle last year was Old Dominic bourbon, and it was 7 years estate, and it was just amazing. And then they came out with the wheat. This will be the first time anybody in the state has it. So it actually be
Oh, wow.
coming out at Maui's. So actually, Maui's will have it. Frankie Martin's Garden will have it starting next week.
That'll be our second Old Dominic pick with them.
Yeah,
And the
and
first
those
one was lights out.
and those go fast. So
Yeah.
that'll be the estate weeded.
Did Bob have the one that we picked? Is that the one you're talking about?
Was it Red Label?
Oh, red label. Okay. We had the black label with the red wax top. Oh, yeah, you got a couple of those. Too.
Yeah, yeah.
That was good too. That was
Yeah.
an 8 year.
It's another high
That's not
value
small,
whiskey.
Actually,
Yeah.
Station.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole
Hard
station.
Station.
Yeah. The old Dominic. That's old Dominic. Yeah.
That's Old
Oh,
Dominic.
it is.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
That was
not-
an
That's
8 year.
that's
session
their
we did.
sourced product.
Yeah.
Instead of their own.
No, this was like a Red Label
Okay.
that you
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, they do a red label one.
So they have
It's
their
not
old,
cast
Old
strength.
Dominic line. They have their Holy Station line.
Yep.
They have their estate line.
Got it.
The estate is their own.
Yeah.
That's
distillery.
new.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's
Okay.
just new last year. So we're the first ones to pick their very first estate in Missouri, and then we're picking the first weeded estate now. Before they picked, it's actually here next week. So you'll be able to pick that up at Maui's or Frankie Martin's Garden. That'll be a sub. I think it's sub $50, and it's going to be
Really?
you
I
know,
thought it was more like 60.
it might be like 55 with discount. It might be 60 without discount. So we'll definitely announce that when it comes out. But another one that'll move quick, and the price point's great.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it gets kind of overwhelming with all these great bottles, but the pocketbook hurts.
Hey,
You know,
Oh, yeah.
it's nice to
ask my
find.
wife. She knows all about it.
Yeah.
It's nice to find some of these bottles that are just as good as anything else. Just don't quite cost over $100 every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went in and picked one bottle up today. The Elijah Craig 18-year, I walked out with 3. So
That's how it goes.
it just happens.
That's how it goes. They multiply, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
I'm really enjoying this. This is
It was
So you
nice.
talked about weeded, and I'm seeing this Weller over here, and it's got a cool logo on the back. Let's talk about that a little bit.
If you're listening to this show, chances are you know your way around a good pour. But if you're ready to take your whiskey journey to the next level, let me introduce you to the Barrel Room Bourbon Club. This is more than just a club. It's a private community of bourbon lovers, collectors, and industry pros who come together to share rare bottles, swap stories, and connect over what we all love most: great whiskey and great people. At the Barrel Room Bourbon Club, we're building real relationships with fellow enthusiasts and with the folks shaping the future of the whiskey world: distillers, blenders, even the occasional barrel pick. Yeah, it's all happening behind those doors. I've seen it firsthand. Some of the best conversations and best pours happen in that room. Old friends, new friends, legendary whiskey. So if you're ready to be part of something special, visit barrelroombourbon.club.com to learn more and apply. That's barrelroombourbon.club.com. We'll see you inside.
That's pretty special, Bob.
I know it is.
Very special.
Let me slide.
Did you happen to put that in my locker yet?
That bottle is sitting in your locker.
Thank you.
I think your brother wants one as well. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
I have
You
one.
have one for me?
I do. I have
Still?
one with me.
Okay.
If you would like to get that for him this evening.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
Not even crits. Can I crack it? You want to crack it? I'll let Kenny crack it.
Well, let's talk.
That candy crack.
Whoa.
So before you do that,
Let's
Yep.
talk about the bottle.
Talk about it.
so as some of you may or may not know, Sazerac has a single barrel program, and you log onto their website and you accumulate points by being there every year or doing a survey or watching a video or whatever. And every year, 3 times a year, they pull numbers and people get their numbers drawn. You get your choice of whatever you want from any Buffalo Trace product.
And I was one number away, so
Really?
yeah.
I was not
Was.
one number away.
I don't know.
You got it. Yes.
I was not
Yes,
one
I was
number
one
one.
number
My
away.
number got picked,
That's
and
crazy.
so I got to pick this bottle with the
Last year.
St. Louis Bourbon Society. I kind of a cool story and cool sticker with it. I don't know if you see that sticker, but it's Back from the Dead. So the picture on the front of the bottle is my little dog. About 3 years ago, ironically, when we were at Huber's Starlight doing a pick, one of our first Starlight picks, they have a challenge at Starlight. When you get there, they're like, we have had a lot of people come here and do single barrel picks, and everybody thinks they can drink more than we can offer, and we're undefeated. And
I can't believe they actually said that. And they were serious.
They were absolutely serious. And the first thing we did when we were walking to where we had to do the pick, we ran into Ted, who's the owner, and he was blending brandies, giant barrels of 130 plus
Barrel-aged
proof
brandies.
barrel-aged brandies. He said, "Guys, want to try some brandy?" So the first thing we did before we started drinking bourbon was 6 barrels of 130 plus proof brandy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And then we went on to sample, I would say, roughly 20 or 21 different bourbons and rye.
I see where this goes going.
Well, I also gave us a flight of whiskey before we started any of that upstairs. So we had a flight of whiskey, the brandy barrel samples. Then we started sampling barrels in their barrel room. And at one point, I asked Andrew, the barrel manager, I said, "So when are we going to start this pick?" Because we started like 10 barrels ago. Because I'm like, you didn't even talk about it. I know. I just keep trying until you find something you like. I'm like, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
I go, I need to keep notes. Like, we're already drunk. So
It was pretty crazy.
yeah, you got crazy.
So anyway, long story short, we went back and had lunch, and I had this pizza that had every pepper known to man on it.
You did.
And
That was a mistake.
that was a huge mistake. And we went to dinner that night, and I didn't drink anything or eat anything because I was not feeling well at all. And literally the next day, and this was the first time we had gone to the Old Carter Locker Club.
Yeah.
And more irony for the story, when we left the Old Carter, because I've been a huge Old Carter fan for many years, I said, "Man, I can die happy now." And the next day I had a heart attack. So
Oh, wow.
the day I had that
I
heart
don't know why I'm
attack,
laughing. That's not funny. But
it was 3:00 in the morning, and that little dog woke me up at 3:00 in the morning, or I may have passed away in my sleep. So to honor her contribution to me being able to be alive to pick that barrel, my son said you should put her picture on that little medallion, which I did. And then I wanted to make it even more special. So we made a pact with the Bourbon Society admins years ago that if we ever want a barrel, we're going to pick it together.
yeah.
And so I think I won it in September, and we were going to go pick it in January.
Mhm.
Along comes December 28th, a few days after Christmas. I had another heart attack. My stent failed. And here I am now having surgery. And in the course of the surgery, I actually passed away because they
Twice.
nicked my heart and it stopped beating.
Yeah.
So I had to get defibbed twice. So I get through that. I get home, and I'm now, 10 days, January 10th, I think we're scheduled to go pick this.
Holy cow.
So it was up in the air, according to my cardiologist, if I would even be able to go pick it. And so once I was able to, and he cleared me to do that, and we did it, I'm like, I need to commemorate that on the back. So that's why Back from the Dead. And at the time, I don't know how many blues fans you guys have on your podcast, but
I'm sure quite a few.
The Blues were coming back from the dead, the depths of the NHL to make the playoffs.
They were.
And so that's why the blue note is on that sticker. So it commemorates me coming back from the dead, the defib and the eyes and the skeleton, and the Blues coming back.
That's awesome.
That's a great story. I'm glad you're here tonight to talk about it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to have shared this bottle because good friend of mine who owns Olive and Oak, Mark Hinkle, he also has a charity called the Ollie Hinkle Heart Foundation. I lost a son in 2016, and he lost a son as well, 1-year-old son to heart disease. Obviously, being a multiple survivor of heart attacks and having heart disease, that is a cause that is very near and dear to my heart. And 6 or 7 years ago, he came to me and said, "Hey, you have a lot of bourbon connections. Can you help me sell?" Because he got a pick of Weller Full Proof and asked me if I would help him move that pick because he was selling raffle tickets and all the money was going to go to his charity. So I have so far with this barrel that I bought raised $6,400 for the Ollie Hinkle Heart Foundation.
Wow.
Awesome. Cheers to that, right?
Yeah, cheers to that.
Cheers to your dog and your son.
Yes. Cheers.
And cheers to you for still being here, buddy.
Amen.
I'm glad you're here.
Amen. And that's why I'm here to do good things like that. And that is the other huge aspect of St. Louis Bourbon Society that attracted me to it is the charity aspect. Because Bourbon Brews, we will raise thousands of dollars. We just had a derby party at Cobalt Smoke and See, another one of our retail partners.
Raised over $90,000.
This bottle with a dinner at Cobalt,
that's incredible.
Guess what
man.
somebody paid
It
for a
me.
dinner with that bottle?
I couldn't believe it.
$2,000.
Keep going.
Holy cow. I don't even know. $5,000?
Keep going.
$10,000.
$9,500.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Kudos to that company.
Kudos to that.
Yeah. Whoever purchased
So
it.
I put one of these out on our site for auction the very first day I got it, and somebody bid $1,000 on that bottle. So $1,000 went to Ollie Hinkle Heart Foundation, and then a buddy of mine said, "Hey, I'll match half of that if you want to get rid of another one." I'm like, "Done deal." And the generosity of St. Louis Bourbon Society matched that. So one bottle of, or two bottles of this raised $2,000 in a day. So that's the power of whiskey right there, and that's what it's all about. Fellowship. That's right.
And the way I kind of think about it is, okay, so because of kind of what we've been doing for the last couple of years, we tend to have access to some of this stuff. And when you have access to this stuff, obviously you can drink it, share it. Those are all good things. But at the end of the day, if you do something even better with it than that, like this guy, and kind of what we do with the Bourbon Society, any chance we get, we try to reach out and not only want to drink it, we want to touch people's lives in other ways too. If we can help them, whether it's raising money or whatever, or give them an experience they haven't had, or anything we can do, we try to work with everybody. So we get a lot of requests, and we try to accommodate every one of them that we can.
Well, I mean, it's
super incredible.
To your guys' point, it's very similar to Fallen Brothers, right? I mean, a portion of every
100%.
bottle goes back to Backstoppers here in St. Louis, and
that's
We
incredible.
recently gave $5,000 back to a family.
Which is why whenever I heard about what you were doing, I was all in on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it's amazing how you can take a passion or a hobby or whatever you want to call it, and utilize it to also do good for the community.
Absolutely.
That's 100% why I joined the Locker Club, because I knew our mission and our values aligned, and I was like, this is a group that I want to be a part of.
Yeah,
There's multiple groups out there, but
cheers
in
to
the
that,
end,
brother.
that's the reason I joined.
I have to have you, brother.
Yep. You guys have been nothing but supportive. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It also helps that your whiskey doesn't suck.
So, what do you guys think of this full proof?
That's good.
Isn't it?
I'm not gonna lie, this is damn good.
It's one of the best full proofs I ever had. We were very lucky. I actually reached out to Buffalo Trace, and I'm sure many of you have heard of Freddie Johnson.
Oh yeah.
We have a kind of a relationship with Freddie from years back, doing some other things, and again raising money for a cemetery that his family is buried in. We raised several $1,000s for that, but I kind of reached out and said, "Hey, I've got this barrel pick coming. If there's any way that Freddie could do my pick, that would be wonderful." And we didn't really. I said, sure, we'll give it a
He
shot.
played it so cool.
He said nothing
He didn't lead
for
on.
months. And then the day of the pick, I get a text from him and it says, I heard you're doing something cool today.
That's super cool.
He wanted to tell us.
He
It was
was
funny.
nice.
We were
He
both
was
messaging, hey, what'd you find out? Can you do the pick? And I don't know, guys. It's pretty, schedule's pretty busy.
Not up to me. It's up to my handlers.
And then we checked in, and we're getting wristbands put on. He goes, you're going to like who you got for your pick today. And I knew it.
That's
I
incredible.
knew that we got Freddie. I'm like, this is going to be great.
So we got a very special
Yeah.
barrel, I think.
He did.
And this is the same barrel that he picked. So
It
Oh,
is.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very good.
I'm glad I got a bottle. So
Much different, though, I would say, than the light whiskeys we've
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a weeded whiskey.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weed whiskey.
But for a
It's
weeded
very
whiskey,
good.
it is very robust and very complex.
Mhm.
It's got a big, long finish. And I hate to say it, boys, but there's a ton of freaking red fruit.
There
in it,
is.
anyway.
There's
There
actually stone fruit, that one.
There absolutely is.
100%.
There it comes.
Questions is a peach, apple, cherry, strawberry, grape, banana.
I've heard raspberry, I've heard strawberry, I've heard cherry.
I always get check out cherry. That's right.
A lot of people say cherry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got
I get cherry in a lot of Weller products,
Yeah.
especially the 12-year.
The
It's got a
107
big cherry
throws
to it.
off some cherry
Oh,
every
yeah.
here and there.
Yeah.
What would you say? Would you say of the Weller products, which is your favorite? Obviously that bottle, but I'm saying
bottle
if you're
right
talking
here?
about
Yeah.
just not your pick, any of the Weller products, what would your be?
So, ironically, we used this bottle to do a Weller Rainbow that I presented at the club. Another opportunity at the club where we do a tasting. We did the whole rainbow, the green, the red, the blue, orange, and the black one. And this blue one won out by far. We did another kind of a really high-end bottle tasting just last week with some friends of mine, and they brought a
Sweet.
William LaRue Weller. And to be honest with you, this foolproof is better than William LaRue Weller,
Wow.
which is a $1,000 bottle.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just a really well-balanced
It is.
whiskey, and it just hits all the notes just right. I would say the one that came second would probably be the single barrel.
The 107.
Yeah, you're right. It was 107.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to proof, though. I think it's just proof. So the full proof, of course, maybe is the best. Then the 107, and then it just goes down from there based on proof. 12-year was in there, the single barrel.
Some people like the 12.
Some people
I
like.
was going to say, I think
Yeah.
full proof and a 107 are better
Yeah.
than 12 year.
Yeah.
But yet 12 year seems to be like the hardest one to find. Everybody wants it, and I'm like, I would think
It's easier to find now. I mean,
Yeah.
secondary market's coming down quite a bit.
Some
But
people
I
like
think
oak,
that-
though, more, and
Yeah.
they like the 12 more. There's
12
like
is
3
oakier.
people out of
Yeah.
40
Yeah.
that actually like the 12 year.
yeah.
Well, then you have the
I would-
CYPB, choose your personal barrel, so then that's always a different one every
That
single
one
time.
does not get
No.
much love. And a lot of it comes down to proof, though. Those are much
Yep.
lower proofs.
Yep.
And,
95.
I'd like to try all those at a full proof level. I'm
Yeah.
sure they're all much better.
They're all going to taste like this, though. Right?
Probably.
Yeah, 100%.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'd like to try the single barrel at a full proof level because that's not even full proof.
That's another 95 or
Yeah. So
Yeah.
That rainbow was cool though because you got to present your bottle and it was in the rainbow, which is awesome. Thanks for doing that. And the presentation was amazing, by the way. So
Thank
good
you,
job there. But the great thing was that a majority of the people in the room had never tried all of them at once.
Yeah.
So they got to experience everything that they've seen online or saw in a store they couldn't afford. They had them all in front of them, and side by side, you got to compare. And that's the best way to do any kind of tasting,
Of
right?
course.
So they had a great time, and of course, Jeff put on a great presentation. Might have been the best presentation I've ever had at the club
Well, I
upstairs.
appreciate that.
It was very, very well thought out.
Unfortunately, it
and
sold
prepared.
out in minutes, so
I
I couldn't
put a
even
lot of
get.
time and effort. I've heard tell that might happen again.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no.
I said I didn't even know
I
about
tried to
this.
jump on it, and then it was like, okay,
that might happen again. We
Yeah.
may have to do that
It
again.
did sell out in about 6 minutes.
Well,
Seriously?
that's
Yeah.
because
Holy
somebody
God.
priced it way too low.
Well,
I mean, if you went and got all those pours in a
Yeah.
bar,
Yeah.
you'd be looking at $175.
100%.
And what did we price that at? What
So-
did you price that at?
and the way I look at it is, okay, majority of those people in that room are members who are already part of our club. They're already supporting us,
Yeah.
monthly. So we're not going to gouge them. I think we're going to charge, $60?
Essentially,
What-
thank you for
insane.
supporting us. Really.
Yeah,
That,
so
that was the cost of 2 pours. for the
we
lunch.
could have
Yeah.
charged double or triple, but that's our community is so tight. I don't. We would never feel right doing that. So
Well, I appreciate
we put it as low as we could. We basically what we paid for it. We bought most of the bottles on secondary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have those bottles sitting around.
No.
And I donated one.
Jeff donated this one, and then one of our other ambassadors donated the single barrel.
That's cool.
Which was awesome. That's super cool. And then we, based on the event, Jeff was able to raise more money for charity off of that.
Nice.
So I can't remember how much more you raised, but anyway, it worked out great. The room was all of our kind of dedicated members.
Yeah,
We got a great experience.
Over $2 grand that night.
That's incredible.
So it was fun. It was fun. But if you guys go into 15 stars, that'll be a great one.
Yep.
Next Tuesday night.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah, Eric Timmerman's coming in from 15 stars and
Sweet.
another high-end
My wife
premium
will be there
brand.
as well.
Oh, good.
I think 15 stars won best whiskey in the world last year.
They've won a lot of
Holy
awards.
crap.
Yeah, for the Whiskey Bible. Yeah, best whiskey.
So they have a good lineup coming.
Yeah.
too.
It was a very expensive bottle, like $240.
Yep, it is.
But it's a multi-finished, like 15-year whiskey.
So they are. So normally all their bottles currently are in that 140 to 250 range,
They're expensive.
but they are now coming out with a shelfer that is going to be in the essentially the 50 to 60 hour range, and we'll be the first ones to try it in the state of Missouri Tuesday night.
Wow.
So we're trying a brand new line called First West,
Mm-hmm.
and those will be their those bottles that in that price point in that $60 range you can purchase and not break the bank, and they're still going to be excellent whiskey. It's still going to be 8 years old plus 8 to 12 years old.
Sure.
Most of their stuff is older blended, so they take barrels are 10, 15, 20 years old blend together, and that's where that price point comes from. So it'll be good. You guys should enjoy it.
Yeah. It'll be
Awesome. Looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
For sure. Well, as we wrap up here, do we want to try one more of the barrel picks? Or
should we try that, or should we pop out this red poppy that's releasing?
I say go Red Poppy.
Yeah, let's do
It's,
that. Let's do that.
This is an 8-year single barrel release from my brand, Fallen Brothers Crafted Spirits. It's a 95.5 rye.
Hell yeah.
And what it is to honor the men and women who served our country. And with every bottle comes a challenge coin. And this bottle's priced at $95. So let's go ahead.
Gorgeous bottles.
One of the coolest.
I love it. I love the artwork and the challenge coin and everything.
So yeah, and as per usual, a portion of this bottle, every portion of every bottle typically goes back to backstoppers unless we have, a rare case where somebody reaches out to us that needs some financial assistance with medical bills or whatever it may be. Previously it was with Tommy Shine, the fire captain, that went through all his stuff, who is now still recovering, getting prosthetics
he's
and
home.
rehabbing.
That.
He was home last week. He went back to continue rehabbing, and they'll be back this week for Memorial Day. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I know you probably covered it on the podcast before, but can you just remind us, how did you get into the brand and why you're doing it and everything, the backstory?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm currently a firefighter paramedic, and I've been firefighter paramedic for 11 years now. And I have a wife, and I have 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. And I always had a passion for whiskey and bourbon, and for the last 10 years I've been kind of collecting whiskeys. And so then the idea came along somewhere, I guess, about year 6 or 8. I always wanted a brand of my own. I'm like, well, if I'm loving all these whiskeys, why don't I just start a brand? And I started looking into it. I'm like, holy crap, okay. Well, I guess I'll just continue drinking in my basement, and then I'll figure it out. And then, I would drink a bottle, and then the next day come along. And then a year goes by, and it's like, all right, today we're starting it, And so then I was like, I want something in case I was to die in the line of duty to be able to, my family, know that my family be taken care of. So that's why the brand actually started. So the passion for whiskey, the current career that I'm in, and knowing the risk and what can happen, I was like, let me start something that could take care of my family if I were to die in the line of duty. So we decided to start the brand, and then we decided a portion of everything we make will go back to Backstoppers, which is an organization that supports families who have lost a loved one in the line of duty. So that's
Great organization.
Yep. So, and then last year the brand actually started and launched on 9/11, and we actually did a toast when the first plane hit the first tower.
That was so
we
cool.
were there.
Yep.
That was so cool.
I was
Yeah.
there as well.
It was a great tribute, great way to start the brand.
And I appreciate all of you guys for being there. So
That was awesome.
It's brand new.
I'll never forget. We got there. We did the first toast till 8:39, 8:38.
Something like that, yeah. So
when the first plane hit, and then we did toast when the second plane hit,
Mhm.
and so I'm leaving. It's like, I don't know, 9:30, 9:45 in the morning, and I'm like, should I've had 2-3 shots of whiskey? I'm going to work. And I walk in, my boss goes, "Where you been this morning?" I said, "Drinking whiskey." He goes, "What?" So I told him the story. He was like, "Oh, that's cool."
I had to do it.
yeah, so we had a pretty good line out the distillery doors. When,
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was
so
awesome.
it was awesome. So good showing, good start, And I think this could potentially be the best one yet. So
It's got a great nose. It's got a great nose.
343.
343.
That's a
That was the
great
first one.
bottle. of whiskey.
Very good bottle.
Yep.
Sold out, of course.
Toasty marshmallow. It came in the coolest box ever, which were handmade.
Oh yeah.
handmade at the firehouse,
At the
actually.
firehouse.
So in between calls, yep.
About as cool as it gets.
Yeah.
So we actually finished that one with 8 staves. So we added 4 toasted and 4 charged staves to the barrel.
Oh man, that's solid. Brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good rye.
So this one just came out and it's still available now, right?
This one actually is releasing on 22nd at
Okay.
Lit, and then will be available. Yep.
That is a classic rye whiskey.
So yeah,
So this
just
week.
Thursday, yeah, from 6 to 9 at Lit Cigar Lounge.
Yeah. So this episode will air on Friday, but basically last night we were at the Lit.
It was a great time.
It was a great time.
Oh,
It's funny you missed it.
That's true.
Yeah, it's all sold out now.
Yeah, this is airing on Friday or the release.
It's just
22nd.
Yeah.
There's still bottles of
Yeah,
it.
there's still bottles.
Man, that's good.
Oh man, I gotta try to get over there. I got a graduation party to go to that night, but I might have to sneak
You
over
should.
to the Lit real quick. But the problem is, my wife will know where I was because you're gonna smell like it when you leave.
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
that's
hide
true.
it.
That is true.
I gotta be upfront with her. I gotta tell her.
Yeah.
Well, we reached out to Brian with Lit and kind of talked to him about the mission of the whiskey.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
he's been so supportive
Yeah.
of it.
Well, so their Lit Cigar Lounge actually has a similar mission too. They support Backstoppers, National Hero Network, and all that kind of stuff too. So, just to touch on what you said, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very.
Side note, we
very
have lit
generous.
cigars at the club and a cigar patio out back.
Yeah, we have a little humidor at the club.
Bourbon Brews.
From,
Absolutely.
yeah, exactly.
So
And
essentially, it's
Festival.
a
And
group
Fall
of
Festival.
like-minded individuals just come together.
Yep.
And
Well, that's true. It makes it easy. I met Brian years ago when he had his old location, and just a heck of a nice guy. Him and his wife Dana are just amazing, and they're very generous, and they're always taking care of people. And so we got along right away. So we've always been supporters of theirs, and they've been supporters of ours right away.
Mhm.
And so they had a locker club there too.
Yeah.
So we have a locker at Lit, and try to support them. But yeah, just a fantastic facility. I really enjoy going there and hanging out with them.
And they have a new location on Main Street in St. Charles, right
Yep.
down the street from the club.
Right by the club.
Yeah. I'm sure do.
Yeah, Lit Tobacco and Pipe and Tobacco. Is it
Yeah.
called?
Used to
Yeah.
be John D. Degler, and it's been
Yeah.
a tobacco shop for 100 years.
that was
Yeah.
a long time, yeah.
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 So yeah,
Classic.
you roll in there and grab a little pipe and tobacco if you want to.
Yeah.
Well, as we finish this up, guys, just a reminder, Bourbon Brews, June 7th. VIP tickets are still available. Their starts at 11 a.m. And then general admission is 12 p.m. Saturday, June 7th at Frankie Martin's. As you heard tonight, there's going to be 70 plus vendors there. Fingers crossed for a beautiful day. And
That'll be good.
it'll be a lot of fun. So if you haven't been to Bourbon Brews, I would highly recommend that you check that out. Again, we'll put links into the websites in our podcast here, as well as on the Bourbon Club website. We appreciate St. Louis Bourbon Society being here tonight to talk about Bourbon Brews.
100%.
And we'll, like I said in the very beginning of this episode, we'll have them back, James and Drew, to talk more about the Bourbon Society in more in depth, as well as talk about the Fall Festival that is October 3rd that we kind of teased here tonight.
Mhm.
But on behalf of Kenny and I, we appreciate you guys coming.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Really appreciate it.
Jeff. Thank you.
Fun time.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Always good.
Thanks so much.
It's always a pleasure.
Damn right.